When you look at traditional knowledge, we've been here at Swinomish since time immemorial. We've lived here, and we are a place-based society, just like the other 567 tribal nations. When our environment is impacted and degraded, we just cannot pack up and move. That's just not in our DNA. We have always been here, we'll always be here, and most communities across the U.S., non-Indian communities, some of them can really say that, this is our third generation here, fourth generation, fifth generation, but when you can say that our family's been here since time immemorial, that's a big statement. And when we are incorporating that into our documents to recognize that, okay, this elder here does not have a PhD in climate change, but they have a PhD that can never be taught in any university across the nation. And this has been their school forever. And when you think about it, my father just turned 83 years old. His Indian name is Kalkaltsit. He's the great-grandfather to my grandchildren. Great-grandfather. They call him Greats. My grandkids call him Grandpa Greats. And what's amazing is his great-grandfather in 1855 signed the Point Elliott Treaty for our tribe. So his great-grandfather signed the treaty for us, and his great-grandkids is enjoying them sitting on his lap right now. So from that standpoint, that wasn't that long ago. And to still have that, because we've always been an oral tradition culture, and so we never had a written language, so everything was passed down by word of mouth. And so when you have that type of history in some of our elders, it is, once again, nothing, no professor at the University of Washington can teach you. The Swinomish is a small tribe. We're a very small tribe. We have just a little over 900 members. We have about 7,000 acres of land. So in the big picture, we're a small tribe, but we are very progressive. We're very forward-thinking. And one of the issues, we live on an island, so one of the issues that we started looking at about 10 or so years ago was climate change. It's very serious for us. We have a lot of low-lying areas on our reservation. Our economic development zone is it's below sea level, and so it is protected by dikes, and so that's of serious concern. Some of our communities are in low-lying areas, so a number of years ago the Senate made a decision to look into this issue very closely and study it very closely. And about 5 years ago, at a time when only 32 of the 50 states had their climate change plan approved by the federal government, we were the first tribe out of the 567 tribal nations to get our climate change plan, adaptation plan, approved by the federal government. So we're leading the way. And we not only started looking at climate change from a Swinomish tribe perspective, but from a Skagit County perspective. And we started an organization called SC Squared, where we brought in some of the best scientists in the Northwest to work with us. And this is a group that is got some very big hitters in the Northwest. Looking at climate change, not only from a scientific and a professional standpoint, but from an indigenous standpoint as well, using local knowledge. And we've been very proud of what we've done with climate change. That's just one of the areas that we are being leaders across the nation. In the 1870s, the non-Indians wanted this property because they wanted the resources. And so they passed a Dawes Act, which basically in a nutshell allowed tribal members for the first time to own their own property on the reservation. And that was a foreign concept to us, to own the property. It was like, we are a part of this. We are part of the fabric. You know, the earth does not own us, or we do not own Mother Earth. So I'll do the math very simple for you. Let's say the Swinomish Reservation is 20 acres. The Dawes Act is passed. You have 20 tribal members. Instead of giving each tribal member 1 acre of land, they only gave them a ½ acre each. And so that's 10 acres. Well, they had 10 acres left over. What the federal government did was conveniently call that surplus land, and they opened it up for non-Indians to come in and get their property on the reservations. And so it was, it created checkerboard reservations, and just like, so from the 1870s to 1934, approximately 100 million acres of land went out of tribal ownership into non-Indian, mostly white men, acquired all that property. 100 million acres across the U.S. And so we have about 7,000 acres of land and 3,000 acres of tide land. So right behind you is tide lands, and it goes all the way around the reservation that we still hold ownership to. That 7,000 acres of uplands, about 3,500 of it was owned by non-Indians and about 3,500 by tribe and tribal members. And in the last 10 to 15 years, we were able to acquire approximately 2,000 acres of land that we've acquired back, that we have repurchased. And so right now we're looking at about 75–80% of the land on the reservation is owned by the tribe, our tribal members. So we're very fortunate that we were able to reacquire Cricket Island. So it's the only state park in the nation that is co-managed by a tribe and a state. First one in the nation. So it's pretty cool to be the first. All of our homeland is very, very important to us. We don't have a lot of homeland, so we don't have a lot of property, so every square inch is very important. But this one is very, very important because you know, we've always been, we say that when the tide's out, the table is set. And so we don't have a lot of access areas for shellfish. Lone Tree and Kickett Island probably are two of the best locations for us to be able to get our clams. And so it was very important for us to be able to get this back, because the previous owners sometimes kept us from digging clams on those tide beds. But now that we own it, it's easier for us to get access for our tribal members. So from that standpoint, it is very, very important. And just the spiritual connection to that piece of property. You know, some of our elders growing up as kids that are still alive today remember paddling out there on canoes to Kickett Island, and to be able to just, because years ago we used to have a stronger, I believe, spiritual connection to the Creator and to Mother Earth that we have today. Still, the flame is still alive, but I think, you know, 100, 150 years ago, there was just a little stronger connection. So this was one of those places where our tribal members would just love to go, to spend the day there, to be there, to be able to partake in the gifts from our Creator, and to enjoy those gifts on the beach right there. You know, once they harvest them, it was just a very spiritual connection that our people had with that island. So to be able to have that back, at least half of it in tribal ownership, is very cool. When you look at Swinomish and you look at our infrastructure that we've created here for our small tribe, our infrastructure is second to none. And when you have a small tribe like ours creating almost 900 jobs, and most of those jobs have full benefits and retirement and everything connected with it, it's just amazing. You know, when you graduate or get a GED, we will give you full tuition, books, and fees to the school of your choice. And that's only made possible through gaming revenues and other economic development diversification. So this year, for the first time, we're adding to that to include a room and board stipend on top of that. So we're getting really, really close to a full ride scholarship. And so 2 years ago, we had 83 of our tribal members in higher education. That's a far cry from a generation ago when we probably had just a handful in higher education. And this last year we had 67. And I'm not sure what the numbers are this year, but we have students in the University of Washington, we have students at Seattle U, we have students at Washington State University, we have students at Gonzaga, we have an elder doing her PhD at the University of New Zealand, the Maoris. Our future is very bright here at Swinomish. We are seeing tribal members starting to make great choices, and I think the big difference for us going forward is about 10 years ago we surveyed our community and asked them, what do you need here at Swinomish? And the two things that they said that they needed amazingly was jobs and homes. Jobs and homes. And so we took care of the job portion. We're still working on the home portion, but something that we really focused on was education. And I am very proud that we have almost 900 jobs, and I look forward to that day when our kids, and everybody comes back to Swinomish, nobody leaves Swinomish. We are a community is in our name, and people stay here. If people go to school anywhere in the world, they come back. That's just our nature. There's no place like home. It's not like we have family all over the nation. That's just very unheard of for us. So going forward, I see education as the tool to destroying historical trauma. I see our tribal members taking that next step, especially the parents. At the end of the day, it's the parents working with the kids. Getting their kids to get that education and coming back and filling those jobs, high-paying jobs, good high-paying jobs. And so I see nothing but good for Swinomish in the future. We have great leadership. We have 11 senators that are in a canoe paddling in the same direction. Last weekend we had some cultural events that are still alive and well. The canoe races, and I like to use the analogy of our 11, because the war canoe is made up of 11 men and women in the canoe racing. And so they cannot paddle on the same side. You can imagine what would happen if 11 people tried to paddle a war canoe on the same side. And so, you know, Swinomish has 11 senators paddling in a canoe in the same direction. We have the same goals in mind, to provide the best essential governmental services for our people, to be able to use our gaming and other business resources and put it 100% back into our programs. And we've created some amazing programs here at Swinomish. And so we don't have in our senators no R's, no D's, we have no cliques, we have no family disputes. We have 11 senators all on the same page with probably close to 175 years of council experience. So our people are very happy with our leadership, and we just see nothing but good things in the future for Swinomish.